Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bregaton. Let's head to Odonathus 11. Lord Captain, drukhari ships are patrolling the system. The likelihood of slipping past the patrols unnoticed is close to zero. I mean, we can't try. You fail to get past the enemy ships unnoticed. The nearest drukhari ship attacks at once. Get ready. Others will soon join in. The ship's crew is up to the challenge. Not that we have another choice. Alert. Drukhari have blocked some of your flagship's posts using an unknown Xenos power. Your crew will regain control of these posts in several rounds. A little unfortunate, but we do have backup this time. I think the first time I did this, I didn't have an escort ship. Also, I assume you can still get the second escort ship from the Dargonis project. So that's how you do it. It's my bad, it's trying to ram nothing. Alright, how do I want to handle this? I guess get the torpedoes back out. Well, they are called interceptors, so we'll move them to intercept. Wait it out. Alright, is that the only one in range? Yeah. We go take it out. Where the torpedoes self-destruct. Ready to hit me too, but that's okay. See what we can do with these. Nice. All right. Let's assume he's going for the port. Some interceptors up towards this ship to intercept it, of course. Not quite in range, is it? Well, it's always next turn, I guess. Smell you later.
I am amazed that we prevailed.
Alright, we got the Starbreaker Lance weapon. Right. Or is it the Godsbane? I guess we'll find out. Yeah, so we did get the Godsbane. So medium range dorsal lance weapon dealing from 52 to 60 damage versus the 32 to 40, so it's a 20 damage increase in general. And we have no reason to ever go back to this, so we will add it to cargo. Let's check out these planets. Bunch of flamers will throw into the cargo. I think this is the last piece of the Archaeotech mechanism fragments. Yeah, so we'll figure that out in a minute. I forget where we have to go for that. Darker crew picks up a heavily damaged Xenos Voidship among the countless rock masses of the asteroid belt. An aeldari vessel beyond a doubt. According to the Von Valanci's archives, about 100 standard years ago, the Imperial Navy set up a barrier in this system against pirates and enemies of humanity. Countless prime mines are still scattered among the wreckage. The Voxmaster manages to tune the ship's systems to an unconventional frequency, and the bridge suddenly fills with chime-like Xenos voices. Drawn out and mournful, they sing in an unknown tongue, but every officer on the bridge can sense that this is a dirge. Answering the call, Elliot jumps to the cogitators, startling the officers on the bridge with her sudden jolt. In the hopes of understanding the Monkai technology and figuring out how to help her kin, the aeldari runs in circles around blinking vid screens. But the mysteries of the machine god elude the Xenos. Then she turns to the Lord Captain, powerless. Elliot is asking the Elentok to help her kin, who found themselves trapped in a snare of fate. The aeldari are enervated and weak, and their song is a cry of despair, a cry that is fading. The Rogue Trader orders his officers to establish communications with the aeldari vessel. However, the Xenos do not respond to the incoming signals. After several attempts, the frequency tuned by the Voxmaster gets lost, and the mournful song fades away. The Lord Captain inquires after the state of the vessel. The aeldari vessel's hull and engines have presumably been damaged in a collision with a small celestial body. However, it is impossible to prove or disprove this hypothesis at such a distance. The Xenos' vessels differ too much from those of the Imperium. Give it a shot. The logistics officers, led by Master Helmsman Ravor, are ordered to plot a course for the rescue shuttle from the Dynasty's flagship to the Xenos ship and back. Now all the crew can do is hope that the calculations are correct, and that the veteran officer's experience has not let them down. The Lord Captain orders the servants of the machine cult to prepare a plan for clearing the minefield without harming the Xenos ship. After several hours pass on the ship's clock, servants of the Omnissiah present a plan for the neutralization of the ancient mines. The success of the operation is assessed as extremely probable. Donnie Dawson von Valencia sends a shuttle with an experienced pilot to scouts in hopes that the smaller vessel can bypass the ancient mines. The shuttle enters the asteroid field. The pilot proceeds with caution, confidently avoiding the chunks of rock and nearly imperceptible mines. However, when the shuttle reaches the Xenos ship, the rescue team's report catches the bridge crew off guard. The vessel's starboard side has been breached by the macro weapons of an unknown Imperial Voidship. There are no survivors. Shielding her eyes, Elliot closes them and clutches a spirit stone at her breast. Coming to, the aeldari does not speak for a time. With notes of sadness in her voice, carefully picking her words, she concedes the Elentok did all they could to save her kin, and yet it is the Monkai who are responsible for the loss of the aeldari Voidship. Saddened by the pain and hatred that humans have wrought upon her kind, Elliot quietly leaves the bridge. Xenos artifact and an aeldari chainsword. Sometimes it's simply impossible to outrun fate. What's cool about the aeldari chainsword, the striking scorpions as the are the Eldar who use the chainswords, but they're also completely silent. Alright, so we need to go back to Dargonis, speak to the navigators. Lord Captain, I'll be requesting an audience with you. Proctor Anthar's interfering with the crew and is demanding to see all the archival records of fugitive criminals we have ever received from the Imperial Navy. The matter is urgent. If you please, Lord Captain. Why not just grant him access to the records? Access to the ship's archives can only be authorized by the Dynasty's heir. I'll meet with both of you immediately. Thank you, Lord Captain. Your Lordship, Proctor Anthar is interfering in the work of the crew. He is intimidating and threatening them, demanding access to the ship's sealed archives. And as for his dog, Victus pauses, shifting her gaze to the Cyber Mastiff, and tucking her hand behind her back. I humbly request that you take action. Victus, what's wrong with your hand? Allow me to explain. Boxmaster tried to pet Glado, which activated his self-defense protocol. As a result, I had to step away from my duties to have my implants replaced, esteemed Proctor. I already apologized. In any case, what happened was the expected outcome from unauthorized contact with the living weapon of the Adeptus Arbites. Victus, why did you try to pet Glado? I didn't. It's the first time you've ever seen the Voxmaster so agitated. I did not try to pet him. It is not customary to keep such cyber beasts on a Voidship, Lord Captain. This is my first encounter with such a creature. That Glado. It was following me all over the bridge. And you decided to interfere with his work protocol. Victus cast Salamorn a cold glance before continuing. I had studied the archives and found mention of a ritual to establish contact that involves an offering and physical interaction with the beast. You're literally talking about bribery. A pointless act. Cyber Mastiffs cannot be bribed, and neither can arbitrators. Victus, reprimand yourself with a note on your personnel file. Glado is a combat cyber mastiff, property of the Adeptus Arbites, not some beast. Yes, Lord Captain. Victus meekly bows her head. Salamorn, why are you sabotaging the work of the crew? I was compelled to intervene as Glado had intercepted a suspicious signal. The encrypted message contained the words heresy and fugitive. I managed to trace the signal back to the Voxmaster's workstation. I needed to dispatch Glado on a reconnaissance mission to obtain new evidence and ultimately to ensure your safety. In other words, you sent the beast to follow me. I questioned the crew in the Voxmaster's absence and established that the wanted bulletins sent by the Imperial Navy were being completely ignored. I suspect that Senior Officer Ptolemy is abusing your trust. What do you have to say to that, Victus? Victus presses her hands together. Reports of fugitive criminals, which number in the hundreds, are of low priority. What's more, I know that Lord Captain Theodora was most adamant on the matter. If you forgive me, her exact words were, "We're not Grokstarn bounty hunters." The Proctor would know that if he had brought his questions to me, rather than interrogating astropaths and comms officers. As for the Vox transmissions, the frequency on which the senior officers communicate is encrypted. I alerted the staff to the situation with the Voidsman, who was brought to you on the bridge to stand trial. Need I remind the Lord Captain that Proctor Anthar has no authority to access transmissions conducted by senior officers on the Rotrader's flagship, not to mention that the signal was wrongfully intercepted. Did you know that one of the Voidsmen was a fugitive heretic? No, Lord Captain. He was not on the list of wanted criminals in the Kronos Expanse. I assume it is because of the relative insignificance of the heresies he was accused of by the Calixian authorities. Perhaps Proctor Anthar had information to which the Imperial Navy does not have access. Salamorn, what are you suggesting? Your flagship is untouchable for external inspections because of its high status, and criminals are taking advantage of that. So you need an internal audit. You need to pull up the archives of wanted bulletins and double-check the crew records. That is the only way to identify and eliminate potential threats to you. This is madness for a ship whose officer corps alone comprises hundreds of people. The work hours that would be required for such an audit. I have listened to you and I'm ready to make a decision. Victus and Salamorn look at you expectantly. Salamorn, you'll be granted access to the archives and lead an audit of my crew. As you command, Rogue Trader. I mean, my main character is a prior arbitrator, so I feel like you'd be biased towards Salamorn anyway. Our Lord Captain, our Ashpaths received a message from Achilles Scalander on Dargonis. He closely studied the data from the incursion on Vibo 6, including the mention of the Xenos leaders. He promised to direct the efforts of his aides to identify those enemies of humanity so their location can be determined. Master Scalander is also reporting the drukhari are getting ready for more attacks on your territory. Information from his aides continues to arrive, and Achilles will personally report to you the moment the target for the upcoming raid becomes clear. The drukhari excel at catching their opponents off guard. There'll be little time to mount a response. According to Master Scalander, your personal participation in the defense would be the best strategy, given the circumstances. Our Lord Captain, this is Master Helms and Ravor. The crew is grumbling again, but they've a right reason this time. Our analytic systems have gone totally bonkers. The Red Robes, tech priests are blaming the anger of the machine spirits. Allegedly, this is how they profess their displeasure at the crew not being worshipful. We have largely managed to stabilize the output of the augurs and auspexes across the ship, but you should know there is something awfully sketchy about the machines these days. I can confirm, Lord Captain. The vessel's analytic systems were behaving incorrectly for a time. The cogitators could not produce statistical data and displayed meaningless numeric combinations instead. The augurs failed to correctly analyze matter and mistook solids for liquids and vice versa. Thanks to the tech priest's efforts, standard operation of the ship's mechanisms has been restored. I'm still registering sporadic reports of similar malfunctions, but we should now be able to handle them. The Medicae teams from the lower decks reported the appearance of a dense purple fog that causes people to develop mutant deformities. Short tentacles roughly the length of a pinky finger. Since the deformities do not interfere with the crew's performance, the Medicae are not concerned whether this phenomenon should be a cause for concern, but the riffraff are already whispering of heresy. Order to have the tentacles surgically removed. The Medicae team zealously set to work and started processing the voidsmen in quick succession. Although many perished during the surgery, their sacrifices would not be in vain. As the vessel left the warp for real space, the fog vanished. Alright, well I'm going to call it here. Next time we will land on Dargonis, we'll speak with Achilles Scalander, the navigators of House Orcelio. I guess we'll check in with the Chancellor as well. We'll also do our colony management, everything that we can do from here anyway. And go from there. But for now, thanks for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next one.